Hello, and welcome to a new YouTube series, I guess. I don't really know how I'm going to go about this, but a few days ago I started streaming because I've been streaming pretty late at night recently, and I'm my last like 3 or 4 streams I've been online at midnight when these games become relevant. I'm going to be playing a few spin-offs of Wordle. I'm sure most of you are very familiar with Wordle at this point. You know, it exploded in popularity almost 3 months ago. It's kind of died down. I myself stopped playing Wordle over a month ago at this point. I'm recording this on April 13th, 2022. So that'll give you some time frame for how this is lining up. But I love a lot of the spin-off games. We're going to be playing, I think, 5 of them here. I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head. I've played all of these on stream for the last 3 or 4 days, but I'm not streaming tonight at midnight. I did stream much earlier in the evening, and it was actually my best stream ever in terms of, just my personal enjoyment. I had a ton of fun, but I also had, like, by more than double my previous high in, like, concurrent viewers, chat engagement, followers, all that kind of stuff. It was a total blast. And I was like, you know what, I'm not going to be online at midnight tonight, but I still want to play these games on camera because I'm really loving these games. And I figured, why not just record a YouTube series? This whole thing takes like 20 minutes to play all like 4 or 5 of these games, whatever I have going here. So I'm going to start doing this on YouTube. Hopefully I do this every day. We'll see. If you've been keeping up with me on social media or Reddit or watching streams, you know that my life is very weird right now. My schedule is all over the place. I cannot consistently commit to any kind of streaming content, which really makes me sad because I'm having more fun streaming now than I ever have. Anyway, we'll dive right in. I'll explain each game as I go. The first game is Worldle, which is a geography game. They give you the outline of a country or territory, and they can get pretty damn specific. You know, you can get into like the British Indian Ocean territory and stuff like that. So it's not always going to be a country. And sometimes they're very zoomed out. So even though it's like in your head, you're like, oh, this is a huge country. Like yesterday, I believe was Kazakhstan. And I got it on my second guess because it looked so small the way they depicted it. And I was like, oh, it can't be Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is too big. And then I was like, okay, I think I guess Kyrgyzstan first. And it was very close, and I was like, okay, I guess it has to be Kazakhstan. So the way this works is, it obviously gives you the outline of the country, and then it will tell you how far away you are in kilometers, I believe, and what direction this country / territory is from the one you guessed. I'm going to be honest with you right off the bat, I don't know this one. 2 days ago, we got it on our first try. It was Gabon. I was very proud of that. I might, like, put that clip in at the beginning of this video just so you can see, because that was pre the YouTube series. Honestly, I have straight up no idea. This could be the Bahamas, but then again, I think the Bahamas was also like 3 or 4 days ago. Yeah, this is not the Bahamas. Is this the Philippines? Actually, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, but this might just be the Philippines, which would be really embarrassing if I didn't get that right off the bat. It is the Philippines. Okay, I made that way harder than it had to be. That's going to be one of the easier ones, even though I didn't recognize it immediately. But yeah, that's Worldle. You see, here it says 0 miles. Normally it would say like, okay, so it is in miles, not kilometers. I couldn't remember. Normally it would say this had been Taiwan instead of the Philippines or something like that. Then I don't know how specifically far away Taiwan is from the Philippines, but I know it's like basically due north, maybe northwest of the Philippines. It would say like 1,200 miles, and then right here where this party emoji is, instead it would be an arrow pointing up and to the left, which would tell you, hey, it's northwest. But that is Worldle. We'll move on to Globle, which is another geography-based game. This one, unfortunately, the globe keeps breaking, which is it's annoying, but it's not important to actually completing the game. We can complete it. I've noticed that it's before I start typing, I can interact with the globe. But after I guess 2 or 3 countries and then I try to spin the globe, it just freezes completely and I can't do anything with it, and it no longer dynamically updates. So I'm going to do my best to avoid interacting with the globe. But basically, there's a famous, or I mean, famous to me. I don't know how well known it actually is. Sporkle quiz playlist that is very similar to this. You guess any country in the world, and I believe this one is only countries, not territories. And it will show you how close you are to the mystery country by the shade of the country you guessed. And also down here it'll say closest country is blah blah blah. Nearest border to mystery country is 300 kilometers away. I think this is the one that's only in kilometers. So I'll start with Turkey, for example. All right, Turkey is 9,000 kilometers away. This beige color is like the lightest color you can get. I think I might have already broken the globe. God, I'd never even put your mouse over it. So you can see Turkey is very far from this country. Let's go to Japan. Yeah, I broke the globe. So normally it would spin and like follow you around, but as soon as you guess a country and then hover your mouse over the globe, it breaks for some reason. I really hope they fix that soon. Japan is even further somehow. So maybe we're in Africa, like South Africa. Maybe we're in South America. Let's go Namibia. All right, Namibia is closer than Japan, but not as close as Turkey. So maybe it's like Canada. Canada's 2,600 kilometers away. That has to make it like Mexico, maybe. Mexico's 1,500 kilometers away. So I'm a dumb American. I don't know how long a kilometer is. I assumed 2,600 kilometers from Canada to Mexico was like 99% of the distance between those two countries. Apparently, it wasn't even halfway. So maybe we're talking more like Costa Rica. Costa Rica's not really any closer. I mean, it is like 80 kilometers closer. So maybe we're dealing with a Caribbean island of some sort, like Bahamas. Bahamas are quite a bit closer. They're 755 kilometers. So maybe a much further south. I'm trying to think of a country in the Caribbean that wouldn't be all that much closer to Costa Rica than Mexico. Maybe the Dominican Republic? Did I misspell Dominican? Oh, you have to hit... Wait. Hello? Is it really? No, it can't just be because I didn't capitalize Dominican. Invalid guess. What do you mean? Am I misspelling? Oh, okay. I don't know what just happened, but it was the Dominican Republic. We got it in 8 guesses. You can see my average number of guesses is 12. That was thrown off by yesterday. I don't remember what it was, but it took me like 17 or 18 guesses. The very first day we started playing on stream, I got it in 2 or 3. I think I opened with Ethiopia, and it was Central African Republic. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just went straight from Ethiopia to Central African Republic. I might have gone Ethiopia, Uganda, Central African Republic. I can't remember. Yesterday's, I already forgot what it was, but it took me a long time. But yeah, that's Globle, and we will move on to Framed. This is a movie game where it shows you still images from various movies, and you have 6 chances to figure out what the movie is. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know what this movie is. It looks like a noir film from the 40s, 50s, maybe an Alfred Hitchcock movie. I have only seen Psycho. That's one of my great shames, is that I've never seen a bunch of movies from the greatest director of all time, arguably. So I'm just going to go with Rope. I know that's an Alfred Hitchcock movie. That is not Rope. Okay. Director, but director with a K. So a German film, perhaps. M. It's just called M, isn't it? That's going to be hard to find. Some movies aren't on here. Like it looks like maybe M is not on here. If we can get to the beginning of the M's. Oh my god. Oh, there it is. M 1951. I think the original one is... Alright. What if I did M 1951, because I actually don't know which is the famous one? They also probably wouldn't do that. Is that Liam Neeson? Is this freaking Schindler's List? I've also never seen Schindler's List. Don't tell anyone I said that. Okay, it is. I actually don't even know if that's Liam Neeson, but I got it. Yeah, there's a lot of movies from the 80s and 90s that are like considered all-time classics that I either haven't seen, like Shawshank Redemption and Schindler's List, or that I think are kind of poopy doo-doo, like Forrest Gump and Saving Private Ryan. That's my cancelable movie take for the day. Yeardle is a history-based Wordle spinoff. This is, of the 5 we're doing, probably my least favorite. I do really like it, especially since I love history. This is the only one that represents history in here. So, but it's hyper-specific to a point that it kind of isn't fun sometimes. But I wish you could have seen the one from either yesterday or the day before, where I was like 300 years off or something, and then I just absolutely nailed it on my next guess, like down to the year, and I was like, oh my god, I will never get that lucky ever again. The Lial Dynasty, so it gives you 3 clues. Like, all of these things happened in the same year, and it is your job to figure out what year it is. Every time you guess a year, it will tell you within a given range how far away you are. It'll say over 200 years away, 41 to 200 years away, 11 to 40 years away, 3 to 10 years away, or 1 to 2 years away, I believe, are the brackets they use. So the Lial Dynasty adopts civil service examinations in the Southern Chancellery based on Tang Dynasty models. So the Tang Dynasty was in the late first millennium AD, I think. So like in the 500 to 1000 range. I might be incorrect on that. It might be a little later. Al-Mansur, the de facto ruler of Al-Andalus, continues his offensive against the kingdoms of Leon and Castile. Okay, so actually this is later, I think. I think this might be like in the 11th century or the 12th century. I don't know. The Reconquista didn't start until like the 15th century, I think. So I don't know when Al-Andalus was like at its peak. I've heard of Al-Mansur. This isn't necessarily when they were at their peak, but they were obviously the dominant force in Iberia. Emperor Basil II, supported by soldiers of the future Varangian Guard, organizes the defenses of Constantinople against insurgents from the Byzantine military elite, led by elite generals Bardas Phokas the Younger and Bardas Skleros. This is a tough one. I would say this is probably the hardest one I've done on stream so far, because usually every time so far there's been at least one clue where I'm like, oh, I know this within like a 200-year range, I think, right off the bat. This one, if you told me this was like 880, I'd believe you. If you told me this was like 1350, I'd believe you. I think I'm going to go like 1127 right off the bat. Okay, we're within 41 to 200 years. The problem is I don't know which direction. Wait, Easter egg edition. One clue points to an Easter egg answer, a year that's not right but gives a special response. Find it to learn a bonus hint. Wait, so one of these clues is wrong? That must be... I noticed that with the last couple of days they've had these Easter eggs, I assume because Easter's coming up. But I did not notice this until now. That's very weird. Let's try... $12.34. Over 200 years off, so we went the wrong direction. That makes sense. 10. So the absolute earliest we could go would be 928. Or maybe 927. I'm dumb. I can't do math. But I think it's after 1,000. And we have to go to at least 1033. So let's do like 1016. All right, we're within 11 to 40 years here. See, this is where it's like, now it's just kind of a guessing game. There's not really any knowledge at play here. This is why I think this is perhaps the weakest of the games. But when you get a clue that you know, it's very satisfying. This just happens, as luck would have it, today was not any clues that I really knew a whole lot about, other than kind of this one. I at least was able to narrow it down to like a 400 or 500 year time period. Let's do like 989. 1 to 2 years off. Very lucky guess. Very lucky guess. So we could be between 987 and 991. Let's try 990. We're still 1 to 2 years off. So that would be 988 to 991. So is it 980? We have a 50-50 chance. 998 or 991. I'm gonna go 988. Yes. All right. I hate that we got. I usually like to get it on the first half of the columns if I can, but considering we had really no idea at the start, I think that's okay. We got it in 6 out of 8. That's Yeardle, and now we're moving on to the creme de la creme, my absolute favorite, Actorle. I never know how to say this. I think that's the best I've said it so far. This is a actor guessing game. I think this game is absolutely brilliant. I'm biased because I'm obsessed with movies. You may have heard me talk recently about how much movies mean to me. Movies are like my thing, even more so than video games, more than streaming, more than whatever. Like, that's what I really care about in life. I was on a 6-day streak of getting these on my very first guess. 2 days ago, the answer was Tilda Swinton. I was streaming this. You should go back and watch it if you can. It was like, I spent like 20 minutes staring at this. I knew that one of the movies was The French Dispatch. So they give you some movies from their filmography, not necessarily the whole filmography. With the title X'd out, they'll give you some genres and the IMDb score. I figured out that one of the movies was The French Dispatch, and that has a huge cast, obviously. And by looking at how far back it went and what other movies I was able to figure out, I was like, I think this is either Tilda Swinton or Lea Seydoux. And I was on Tilda Swinton for a long time, and I can't even remember at this point why I talked myself out of Tilda Swinton, but I did. And then I guessed Lea Seydoux, and then it was Tilda Swinton. So I got it on my second guess. I was so despondent. I felt like crying on stream because I ruined my first guess streak. But then yesterday was Jake Gyllenhaal, and after staring at it for like 5 minutes, I got that on my first guess. So hopefully we can get back to multiple first guesses in a row tonight. Now, right away, I saw Inception. You see an 8.8 on IMDb. I've talked about this on stream. Let me just make sure real quick. INCEPTION. So IMDb, I tend to take umbrage with a lot of their ratings. IMDb is much more heavily skewed towards white, male, Gen X, and old millennial people, because that's who was on the internet in the late 90s and early mid-2000s when IMDb was at its peak popularity. And so because of that, movies like Inception get rated really highly when they're kind of mid as fuck, to be honest with you. I'm a noted Christopher Nolan. I don't want to say a hater, because I do think he is a spectacular filmmaker. He is in a class really with only like Spielberg and Cameron, I would say. And Denis Villeneuve has placed himself in that category over the last few years as well, of having understanding a sense of scale in filmmaking that no one else alive, even people like Martin Scorsese, can really claim to have a grasp on. That said, this is okay. Now we're turning into like a film theory lecture. This is not what this was supposed to be. I think Christopher Nolan kind of sniffs his own farts a little too much, and by that I mean way too much in every film. The plot is nonsense. The dialogue is nonsense. Inception is not anywhere near my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. I do think Dunkirk is his masterpiece, which I think is probably a divisive opinion. I think that's probably his least appreciated movie over the last 15 years or so, other than Tenet, which was not very well received. I think Dunkirk is not only his best movie, I think it's one of the best movies of the 21st century. I think it is an out-and-out masterpiece. I think it is incredible. I think every single piece of that film works perfectly together, and I think it's a great example of what happens when Christopher Nolan is allowed to go wild without the constraints, not even with the constraints of history forcing him to make a story that kind of makes sense, because Dunkirk is a real thing. He couldn't do whatever he wanted. Whereas things like Inception and Interstellar, and even The Prestige, which I like, but I still think is overrated, and especially Tenet. I mean, Tenet is just batshit. But all of those movies just go off the rails in beautiful ways at times. You know, Interstellar has some of the most magical moments I've ever seen in a theater, and also it is. I've said it a million times over the years. Interstellar is the single most disappointing movie I've seen in theaters because I cannot believe I've been talking about Christopher Nolan for this long, but because it came out when I was 19, I think, or 18. I was a young white guy. I was like that at that point. I was forming my film self. I was like, I think I want to like learn about film theory. I want to learn how films are made. I want to really get into this. And naturally, if you're a straight white guy who came of age in the late 2000s, early 2010s, Christopher Nolan is your guy. You see The Dark Knight in theaters when you're 13 years old. That shit is the Bible to you. That is scripture. That rewrites your DNA in real time. And that's how I felt. And so when I saw, even at 15 or whatever, I didn't love Inception. I was like, this is cool, but it doesn't make any sense, which is true. But even despite the fact that I didn't love Inception, when I saw the trailer for Interstellar, I had convinced myself it was going to be in contention for not like my favorite movie of all time, but the best movie ever made. I was like, this is going to be a 2001 Godfather, Citizen Kane level movie that the film world is going to like warp itself around and have to reckon with this movie. And obviously, if you give anything that insane expectation, I was like 18. I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. That's not no movie is that. Not even the movies I named. So I went to Interstellar, and even though I think it's pretty good, especially compared to Inception and The Prestige, and for sure Tenet, of course I was disappointed. Anyway, I apologize sincerely for going on this minutes-long rant about my relationship to Christopher Nolan. The point is that I think Gen X and millennials kind of have shit taste, which is reflected in IMDb scores. But this is Inception. So that tells me we're dealing with Leonardo DiCaprio, we're dealing with Elliot Page, we're dealing with Tom Hardy, we're dealing with... God, I haven't seen Inception since I was in college. It's probably been 7 or 8 years. Who else is in Inception? Let's see if we can figure out any other movies. We have an 8.4 here from 2012, an action crime drama. Starts with the. Is this Lincoln? Lincoln. I believe this is Lincoln, a historical biopic. 2012. Yeah, it's definitely Lincoln. Who is in Lincoln? Besides Daniel Day-Lewis. Because this is not Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis is not in Inception. Could this be Tom Hardy? No, because I don't see Mad Max Fury Road. And this is upsetting. 2012 sci-fi. Action sci-fi. I'm not sure. 2011 romance film. 7.6 on IMDb is pretty good. 7.6 for a romance film. This is probably like the best movie ever made. And these fools, like for a romance film on IMDb to have a 7.6 is pretty astounding. Could this be Leonardo DiCaprio? No, he's not in Lincoln, unless this isn't Lincoln. But what else would this be? What else? No, this can't be Leo, because there would be The Wolf of Wall Street, which this is not. There would be Great Gatsby, which none of these are. There would be The Revenant, which none of these are. This could be Elliot Page. I don't know what else he's been in, to be honest with you. Juno was like 2008 or 7, and I don't see that on here. So I don't think this is Elliot Page. And if it's not Leo, Tom Hardy, or Elliot Page, I'm kind of screwed here, because I can't remember who else was in Inception. What is this 2012 crime action movie? An 8.4 on Letterboxd. I definitely have seen this movie, or on IMDb, excuse me, not on Letterboxd. If it was on Letterboxd, it would be out of 5, and it would also be a more reasonable opinion. That said, Letterboxd's demographics are also changing as Letterboxd gets more popular. I sound like the snobbiest MF in the world right now, and maybe I am. I always take the most time on Actorle, because I love getting it right on the first try. Hold on, is this the Dark KNIGHT Rises. So is this Tom Hardy? This has to be Tom Hardy. Those are, I mean, they don't always show all of their movies. Like for Tilda Swinton, Avengers Endgame was not on there because I think that maybe that would be too obvious. But I feel like this has to be Tom Hardy. I don't want to take any more time, even though I'm not 100% sure. I am like 90% sure. No! I've never had that happen before. It's always been if I figure out 2 movies that are right, it's that person. I've never had someone else be in 2 movies. Okay. That's so upsetting. They're younger than Tom Hardy. I read this backwards. 44 years is greater than. So it could be Elliot Page. But Elliot Page is not in The Dark Knight Rises. What the hell? Who's in The Dark Knight Rises? Is Joseph Gordon-Levitt in Inception? Is this Looper? L-O... No, this isn't... Looper's not a historical biopic. Wow, I am stumped. I don't know where to go from here. I gotta figure out one of these other movies. What's the highest IMDb? 7.7, 2009 romance comedy. 2 movies, two genres they don't make anymore. I really thought I had it with Tom Hardy. I thought once I saw The Dark Knight Rises, I was like, oh, that's a wrap, baby. Who else is in The Dark Knight? I've seen The Dark Knight Rises 15, 20 times. I like The Dark Knight Rises, I think, more than most people. Definitely more than most people. I think it's good. And I think Tom Hardy's performance in it is the best part of that movie. I'm gonna lose it. This person was in 3 movies in 2012. And one of them I'm pretty sure is Lincoln. Lincoln. Who was in Inception, The Dark Knight Rises, and Lincoln? Maggie Gyllenhaal's not in The Dark Knight Rises. I don't think Aaron Eckhart's in The Dark Knight Rises, is he? Could this be Cillian Murphy? I'm gonna go for it. I don't think this is who it is, but I'm lost. Cillian Murphy's older than Tom Hardy? That's very surprising to me. Although he's the star of Christopher Nolan's next movie, Oppenheimer, I'm cautiously optimistic because it's like Dunkirk, it's a movie that theoretically is bounded by history. So Nolan's gonna go from his craziest playground in Tenet back to Straight Jacket and hopefully crank out another banger. I don't know what to do. I've never been here. I've never not gotten it within my first 2 guesses. I probably saw this movie in theaters. I probably saw most of these movies in theaters. A 7.4 sci-fi action drama. Gravity. G-R-A-V-I-T. G-R-A-V-I-T. I hate everything. Brothers and sisters, I'm stumped. I don't know what to do. I was going to say let's just guess Elliot Page. Elliot Page is not in The Dark Knight Rises. I know that for a fact. So don't be dumb. But what if? What if he were, and I just missed him? The fact that they're in The Dark Knight Rises is driving me insane. So, like, we've got Christian Bale. Is it Michael Caine? This could be Michael Caine, I guess. But his career goes back to, like, the 60s. And he's not younger than 44. The only thing I can think of, even though apparently L-O-O-P-E-R. L-O-O-P-E-R. Are you serious? I just didn't count the right one. This is Joseph Gordon-Levitt. What? I counted this one, even though it didn't say sci-fi, but I didn't count the one that said sci-fi. This is freaking Joseph Gordon-Levitt, the person I said 8-10 minutes ago. I'm so upset. I'm so upset. Ugh. Man, I'm so mad at myself because I literally said Joseph Gordon-Levitt 10 minutes ago. Anyway, that's Actorle. That's the last game we're playing tonight. I am sorry that it took me so long. It's embarrassing. I apologize for the long Christopher Nolan rant as well, but hopefully you got to enjoy some of this content, and I will definitely try to pump out some more of this, hopefully every day. I'm gonna try to edit this video. I've never really done video editing beyond the cursory, like, maybe I've cut 1 or 2 things. I'm actually gonna try to cut this down, and we'll see how that goes. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys again next time.